Let's dive into a classic that literally had us running the streets from the comfort of our couches. It's quirky, it's nostalgic, and for many of us, it was a bizarrely integral part of our gaming childhood. I'm talking about none other than Paperboy, a game that didn't just challenge us to deliver newspapers, but to navigate a suburban obstacle course that felt like it came straight out of a comic strip. Released in the mid-80s, Paperboy did something few games had attempted before. It mixed Monday daily chores with extreme arcade action, turning the simple task of delivering papers into a survival run through suburbia, complete with breakdancing bystanders, runaway lawnmowers, and the odd tornado. Whether you played it at the arcade with that distinct bike handlebar controller or experienced it through one of its home console ports, Paperboy offered a unique blend of frustration and fun that has cemented its place in video game lore. So why does Paperboy deserve a deep dive? Because beneath its simple premise and gameplay lies a rich tapestry of innovation, challenges, and a legacy that influenced more than just the world of gaming. Stick around as we explore how this title rolled out to become an arcade sensation, the trials it faced, and how it's remembered in the gaming community today. We're going back to the days of pixelated papers and digital doorsteps. Let's get into it. Paperboy was born out of the creative minds at Atari Games, a giant in the arcade scene back in the 80s. The first game hit the streets, literally and figuratively, in 1985, shaking up the arcade scene with its innovative concept and engaging gameplay. The idea? A paperboy on a suburban route, dodging obstacles and delivering newspapers. Simple on paper, challenging in execution. The concept was the brainchild of Carl Bedard, John Solowitz, Dave Ralston, and Russell Daw. These guys wanted to create something that stood out from the typical shoot-'em-ups and sport games flooding the arcades. They drew inspiration from their own lives and surroundings, turning the everyday task of delivering newspapers into an arcade adventure. Technically, Paperboy was a marvel for its time. It utilized a custom cabinet fitted with bicycle handlebars as the controller, an innovation that not only made the game physically engaging, but also deeply immersive. This wasn't just a joystick and buttons. Players actually felt like they were steering the Paperboy through perilous suburban streets. The game ran on the Atari System 2 hardware, which allowed for more detailed graphics and smoother animations than many of its contemporaries. Paperboy featured a distinct isometric view, which was a technical achievement at the time and gave players a clear view of obstacles and targets along the route. Upon release, Paperboy was an instant hit in the arcades. It appealed to a wide demographic, from casual gamers looking for a quick play to hardcore enthusiasts eager to master its quirky challenges. It was later ported to numerous home systems, including the NES, Commodore 64, and several others, each adaptation trying to capture the original's charm and challenge with varying degrees of success. The ports themselves are a testament to the game's popularity, but also a showcase of the era's limitations and the peculiar charm of adapting arcade hits to home technology. Each version tried to replicate the addictive nature of the arcade original, with the NES version, in particular, standing out for its faithful adaptation of the arcade's gameplay dynamics and visual style. Through these efforts, Paperboy not only delivered a daily dose of newspapers, but also a groundbreaking gaming experience that rolled its way into the hearts of gamers around the world. This game wasn't just another title on the shelf, it was a pioneering mix of physical interactivity and video game entertainment, providing that sometimes the simplest ideas can lead to the most memorable adventures. Alright, let's get into the nitty-gritty of what made Paperboy such a standout game back in the day. Its gameplay. For those who might not remember, the main goal in Paperboy is super straightforward. Deliver newspapers to your subscribers while avoiding a myriad of obstacles that seem like they're straight out of a cartoon. You start off with a stack of papers and a list of subscribers highlighted by bright, welcoming mailboxes. Non-subscribers? Their homes are noticeably drab, setting the stage for some optional mischief. As you pedal down the street, the game throws everything but the kitchen sink at you. We're talking about obstacles ranging from cars suddenly backing out of driveways to grumpy homeowners, and even the occasional tornado. The control scheme was brilliantly simple. Using the bike's handlebars in the arcade, players would steer left or right with a button to toss newspapers. The timing and angle of your throws were crucial. Land a paper smack on the doorstep or in the mailbox and you rack up high scores. Miss and you might break a window or upset a subscriber, potentially losing them the next day. It was this balance of risk and reward that kept players dropping quarters into the machine. Scoring in Paperboy wasn't just about delivering papers though. You could earn extra points for chucking papers into non-subscribers' windows or interacting with various environmental elements, like knocking over garbage cans or hitting those annoying garden gnomes. And let's not forget the infamous obstacle course waiting at the end of each in-game day, testing your precision and control in a timed run through ramps and pylons for bonus points. What truly set Paperboy apart was how it blended its core mechanics with an ever-increasing difficulty. Each new day brought faster cars, more aggressive pedestrians, and even stranger hazards, like the Grim Reaper himself chilling on the sidewalk. Remember, this was the 80s, so arcade games were all about escalating challenge, pushing you to come back, try again, and maybe even get further each time. The genius of Paperboy's design lies in its replayability. It wasn't just about beating the game, but improving your route strategy, honing your throwing arm, and maybe, just maybe, making it through a week without losing all of your subscribers. The game captured that delicate balance between frustration and fun, making each playthrough as engaging as the last. And isn't that the hallmark of a well-designed game? The challenge, the strategy, and the outright absurdity of this setup made Paperboy a legend on its own terms in the arcade world. When it first hit the arcades in 1994, it wasn't just another game on the block. Paperboy was a revolution wrapped in newsprint. The game's blend of unique gameplay, innovative controls, and a quirky premise set it apart from the typical arcade fare of shooters and sports titles, capturing the fascination of gamers looking for something refreshingly different. Critics and players praised Paperboy for its originality and engaging gameplay. Reviewers highlighted the game's ability to turn the mundane task, like delivering newspapers, into an exciting and sometimes hilarious adventure. The challenge of navigating suburban hazards while aiming for precision throws struck a perfect balance between frustration and fun, making it addictively replayable. This appeal wasn't just confined to hardcore gamers, it attracted casual players too, broadening its fan base across a wide spectrum of the gaming community. Commercially, Paperboy was a significant hit. It consistently ranked among the top earners in arcades during its heyday, a testament to its popularity and appeal. As it transitioned from arcades to home consoles, its success continued, albeit with varying degrees of fidelity to the original experience. The NES version, for example, became particularly well guarded for capturing the essence of the arcade hit, despite the limitations of home hardware at the time. The game's influence extended beyond just sales and reviews. Paperboy became a cultural icon, referenced in movies, television, and other media. It paved the way for video games that sought to turn everyday life and seemingly mundane tasks into compelling interactive experiences. Think about how many games today take a simple concept and flip it on its head to create something fun. Paperboy was doing this long before it was a trend. Now, fast forward from the 80s to today, and Paperboy still rides through the memory lanes of many gamers. The retro gaming trend has breathed new life into Paperboy, with gamers old and new revisiting this classic either through emulators or on original consoles and arcade machines. Its appeal in the modern era is partly nostalgic, but there's also a genuine appreciation for its unique gameplay and the challenge it presents. There have been efforts to bring Paperboy back, not just as a re-release, but as a reimagining for new platforms. While these efforts vary in success, they highlight an important aspect of gaming culture: the desire to connect generations of gamers with titles that have a timeless appeal. These modern takes on Paperboy try to retain the core of what made the game special while updating graphics and controls. Its legacy is also evident in how it influenced game design. The use of unique control schemes, like those bicycle handlebars, inspired future games to think outside traditional joysticks and button setups. The isometric perspective it popularized would be seen in numerous other titles, enhancing the visual depth and gameplay possibilities in games that would follow. And there you have it, the story of Paperboy, the game that turned the suburban grind of tossing newspapers into a test of skill and survival against all odds. It's funny when you think about it. A game based on a job that's basically extinct has managed to stay alive and kicking in the collective gamer consciousness. Who knew delivering papers would be so epic? Paperboy wasn't just a game, it was a rite of passage. Dodging the Grim Reaper and a tornado while on your paper route? That's just an average Tuesday for our pixelated hero. The game taught us the values of precision, persistence, and how not to get mauled by a runaway lawnmower. Lessons that are surprisingly applicable in our everyday lives. As we close out this dive into the streets of Paperboy, let's appreciate the game for what it was. A wonderful, weird slice of gaming history that proves sometimes the simplest ideas have the longest delivery routes. Here's hoping our digital Paperboy keeps on pedaling through the decades, delivering a dose of nostalgia and neat tricks, one pixelated paper at a time. If you enjoyed exploring the history and making behind Paperboy, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And, as always, thank you for watching.